Okay, okay.
Yesterday was a day for personal practice, and the people who were participating in the group meditation the day before yesterday were given some homework, an invitation to experiment, to look into what your personal meditation practice means to you. And so today we will practice meditation together for a few minutes, and then we will hand in our homework. So we will each go one by one and kind of share about what personal practice means to us. What is our personal practice? And specifically talking about the practice that we did yesterday and what that was, and maybe some of the difficulties or the niceness that came up about it. So we had a similar event in our earlier gathering, and that went very well. So we'll do a similar practice here again today. All right, so everyone get comfortable. Find your meditation position. And that's not just finding the position for the body, but also the position for the mind. And that we are so many here gathered together, it's kind of convenient to get our mind in the right position. There's a inspiration, there's an energy that comes up when we have so many people gathering to practice. Puts us into a place of focus, puts us into a place of somehow being with so many other people. It invites us to go inside, to go deeper inside than we otherwise would. So we recognizing that we are so many gathered here today, we can find the feeling of sincerity, of gratefulness for this community, and also finding quite a deep sense of intimacy and immediacy to our practice at this time. So finding the position for our body, finding that position of our mind to turn inwards, to pick up our meditation method, and to put down our anger, our fear, our anxiety, our constant telling stories about our lives and other people, our beliefs, and just to pick up at this moment our meditation method. As we hear the sound of the bell, we are all invited to go inside, deep inside the body, deep inside the breath, and to practice just breathing, just being aware. Breathing in deeply and bringing the mind home to the body. Bringing our awareness and attention that is so often focused outward, bringing it inside the body. We can follow the path, the course of the breath as it flows in through our nose, down our throat, and into our lungs. Breathing in and being aware of the body. Allowing the mind to settle in just breathing, just being aware. Breathing in deeply, bringing the mind home to the body, establishing ourselves in the here and now. Establishing our awareness in what is happening right now. Not the past, not the future, but the current lived experience. Our way of connecting with that current lived experience is to notice the chit-chat, talking mind, to return to the breath, to return to awareness of the body at this moment. Just breathing, just being aware, relaxing body and mind. allowing the heart to beat freely, allowing the breath to flow naturally. No resistance, no friction, just showing up. Showing up to exactly where we are supposed to be at this moment. Not delaying ourselves, not getting caught up in games of the mind, pleasures, pains, memories, worries, but noticing when we aren't showing up, noticing when we neglect the meditation method and we forget about the breath, when we forget about the body. And at that moment of forgetting, to restart, to refresh, to continue, just breathing, just being aware. Your practice can be as deep or as shallow as you like. Moment by moment, breath by breath, opening the heart, deepening the mind. So we can start to slowly move our body. We can massage our face, our head, massaging slowly, mindfully. We tend to think of meditation in terms of winning or intensity or really getting it this time, really going deep. But in fact, it is never the intensity of our practice, but the consistency of it that determines our level of awakening, our level of insight. The deeper we go, the more consistent our practice must become. So, speaking of consistency, we'll now move to our sharing portion. So, yesterday we did not have our group meditation practice, and what we'll do now is talk about what our personal practice was yesterday, what we did, how we put forth the effort to practice, and also what personal practice means to us as individuals. So we had that in our earlier session, and it went very well, and so we'll do it again here. And this will be kind of a weekly event where we will have a day for personal practice, and then the next day we will check in and talk about our personal practice, what it means to us, and our successes, our failures in um, trying to practice on our own. Meditation is one of those things that everyone knows it's somehow good, it somehow heals us, it somehow helps us. But for most people, they couldn't meditate, and they couldn't meditate regularly, and they couldn't make success in meditation. Because the moment that there is any kind of gain or insight, they give up their practice. And we're all kind of doing this moment by moment, day by day. We give up our practice because we feel relaxed, or we feel, we're taking our own kind of spin on it. But when we learn to have a personal practice that doesn't rely on the environment being ideal, that's when we can really become consistent, because the environment will not always be ideal. We won't always have a group to meditate with, so we take advantage of it while we're here. Right, so in that way, we'll start going one by one to share about our personal practice yesterday and what personal practice means to us. Some people here were here for the morning session or the earlier session, so they've already shared. And people who were not, we look forward to hearing from you. Christina, maybe you'd like to get us started off?
Well, I'm very sorry. I was working yesterday, so I didn't have the time to do anything really. And when I got home, I was so tired, so I didn't do it. I'm sorry.
Well, you don't have to be sorry, but thank you for sharing.
Yep.
And for some people, if you can't use your microphone, you can write, and I'll read it for you. You can write your sharing in the voice text. Okay, how about Nikki? Would you like to share?
Yes. Well, I haven't quite found what personal practice means to me yet, but I do at least regularly try to read Thich Nhat Hanh every night. Still going through the book we started together a while ago. And yesterday I had to do an evening errand, and I decided to do a walking meditation with it. So that was nice. And because you mentioned Ajahn Brahm recently, I looked up one of his Dharma talks, but came to another teacher at I guess his YouTube channel and watched that Dharma talk on reflecting on death. It was very insightful. That was my sort of practice yesterday. It wasn't too much because I had to work as well, but I got a little bit in.
Okay, thank you, Nikki. That sounds wonderful. Sounds like you're really finding what personal practice means to you. Really great. Listening to Dharma talks and making a normal activity to be a walking meditation is really wonderful. And for some of us, it can even be while you're cleaning or while you're doing another activity. It's not ideal, but during that, to listen to a Dharma talk or just to set time aside in your day to listen to a teaching or to read or to take even just a few deep breaths can be a practice. So, Nikki, that really sounds wonderful. And I'm glad that you're doing that. So, and we can all give a bow after the sharing. Yes, we bow to the generosity of Nikki and everyone who shares. Okay, maybe Bree, you'd like to share with us?
Sure, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So yesterday, well, actually the day before yesterday, I just went to the closest temple to my house for the first time. About an hour away, but I decided to start making that a weekly visit. And yesterday alone, I reading from Going Home by Thich Nhat Hanh, and spending a lot of time really just looking around in nature. Even now, I'm looking out my window at the trees, blowing in the wind, and just kind of absorbing and just kind of listening and opening myself up, clearing myself and making myself available really to whatever comes, to be accepting, calm, and less reactive would be mine.
Okay, thank you, Bree. This morning, I think many of us, and I certainly had the experience that it was very inspiring to hear how good of a grasp people had gotten on what practice means to them and what their personal practice is. Many people, they might want to do a spiritual practice, but it's more vague, it's more general. And so when you can really get a grasp onto a meditation method, onto listening to clear teachings, there's a lot of benefit that you bring to yourself and to the world. So I felt a lot of gratitude this morning about people's practices that they had and that they shared. Okay, so thank you, Bree. Also feel that about what you shared. All right, so who would like to go next? I see many people are writing their sharings in the voice text. Some people can use their mic. Maybe Anushka.
I would am I audible? Okay. Okay. Well, for me, not just yesterday, just in general. Recently, I've started practicing. I believe what it's called Tonglen, where I tend to close my eyes and I picture taking in the suffering of anything that feels could use some healing. And so for me personally, why this practice stuck with me is professionally, I study very quite extensively violent offenders, and as a side effect, it subconsciously makes me quite, I don't know, it got me paranoid for my safety, for the safety of my loved ones and people in general, just knowing how much suffering we can cause to one another, not just people, to animals as well. And I got to a point where I couldn't even step out of my house without being scared just constantly, and it took out so much energy from me. So after I started practicing this way, it helped me ease the strain that I felt. And even though I couldn't directly help even though I couldn't directly ease the suffering of the victims, the criminals that I studied, or any other people involved, um, yeah, I don't know how to describe the feeling, but it helps in dealing with the emotions that come up because of that. Um, yeah, that is pretty much it. And also something that's helped me a lot is I remember you mentioning the phrase "let it be," and it's been really helpful. Helps me deal with frustration and anything that may seem like a big deal, something that may cause me to just react violently or negatively. That's becoming less these days, and that feels good. Tend to not react, so I tend to not be very volatile these days. That feels, yes, that's, thank you.
Okay, Anushka, thank you so much. The practice that you described, I believe it's something like breathing in like a dark smoke of a suffering, is how I've heard it before. Like,
That's right. Yes, something like that. And when you're exhaling, you're exhaling light and healing energy, something of that sort.
that's great. That sounds like quite a nice practice and can be something where you breathe deeply, right? You breathing in all this black smoke, this dark suffering, and purifying it, right, with your mindfulness, with your heart.
Exactly. It's a beautiful practice. Thank you.
Yeah, that sounds really nice. I've heard about it. There's a woman who is quite a well-known Tibetan Buddhist practitioner, and she teaches about how to feed your demons, feeding your demons, something like that. And I think she's talked about that practice before. Um, maybe I can post the book or feed your demons.
Okay, that'll be really helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, feeding your demons ancient wisdom for resolving inner conflict. I think this is the book. Anyway, I'll check on it a little bit later, and I'll post the link. But thank you for your sharing, Anushka. So let's go now to Kat. You'd like to share, Kat, about your personal practice yesterday and what personal practice means to you?
I wasn't here yesterday, so sorry for that. But
A little
I
bit,
can
your
give
microphone's a little bit low, a little bit difficult to hear. You can try
Is that
again.
better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay. Um, I wasn't here yesterday, but meditation means many. It means many things for me. I've been practicing on and off for around five or so years. I initially began because I struggle with mental health issues and addiction, and meditation has become a place for me to or a practice for me to engage myself and um, understand my suffering and try to understand the nature of things.
Okay, Kat, thank you so much for sharing that. It's really nice to hear from each other and to know who we're practicing with. I think we all have different sufferings that we've gone through and kind of cultivated a compassion and a skillfulness in dealing with. So we all have these different methods, these different medicines that we can offer to each other just by our presence, just by our being together, showing up regularly. And then when a situation comes up, we'll be here, we'll be together, and just to know that someone has gone through, for me, that someone has gone through mental health issues, addiction issues, and has also used meditation as a way to deal with that is reaffirming of my own experience, because I also went through a lot of those issues, still going through to to some degree, and continuing to bring peace and happiness with the practice. So, thank you, Kat. All right, maybe Fabian, you would like to go, like to share?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, can hear you loud and clear.
Perfect. So, yesterday I was here on the Discord and was meditating for myself around an hour, and I like to do concentration meditation, and I concentrate on the object of my breathing. Basically like what you teach us over the years. And I start to experiment with open awareness meditation, especially on days where I have the feeling I have very subtle concentration. I start to note and be open aware and note what's coming. And since some days I look more sincerely into walking meditation. Yeah, because I think it's one of the more easy things for me to shift into daily life. Yeah, and I'm reading at the moment a book from Mark Epstein. It's called The Zen of Therapy. That's very interesting. I was very late in bed because I was reading so much. Yeah, so far. Thank you.
And I'm sorry, on YouTube, you haven't had audio for quite a while. I apologize for that. Okay, so who would like to share next? Stephanie, go ahead and share.
And meditate, saying and peace and slowly, slowly, Saturday and um yeah.
It's not able to hear you clearly. Not the sound is not clear. Maybe far away from the microphone. So maybe you can try to change your settings, Stephanie, and we'll come back to you. Or you can try to type, okay? All right. How about Maya? Would you like to share, Maya, about your personal practice yesterday?
Yeah. So personal practice for me is kind of mostly about keeping and strengthening a connection that I feel I have with just the it and the universe. So a lot of my meditation is um I got nervous. It's about being like mindful and yeah, for me, I can live life a lot easier with the methods of like Taoism. Like everything is just kind of what it is. And so, yeah, because like a lot of people who have like expressed things about themselves, I came from a place with just a lot of like suffering and abuse. And at that time, I literally thought that that's how the world was like all the time. I didn't know that like happiness was like a thing for real. And I like went to sleep while I was still in that environment, and I had this like weird dream, and when I woke up the next day I just like felt different on my insides and on my head. Like I sounds weird, but I truly do felt like I had like a connection that wanted me to break out of that like cycle of abuse and suffering and things like that. So I try to make it more of a lifestyle. Everything I do, I try to be very mindful of. And I, one of the main things I like to do is just give kindness and generosity because, you know, most of the time people suffer, it can have a lot to do with other people and their suffering. So being able to understand where other people come from, you know, their actions are usually just the echo of their own hurt. And it's not, you know, so yeah, that's me. And also, I just wanted to say I love that there's a bunch of women in here giving us like a place and representation. You know, when you look into a lot of things, you don't get to see this. And all the men too, but yeah. Yeah, I don't know if that sounded right. I got nervous, but thank you.
Yeah, thank you for sharing and bringing attention to all of the wonderful women that we have as a part of our Sangha is also great as well. The more representation, the better. Stephanie, did you maybe want to try again with the audio?
Hear me now? Okay. Um, peace and quiet and serenity, and this song helps me like meditate. Yeah, and yes.
Thank you so much, Stephanie, for your sharing. So you are using the bell as a bell of mindfulness, as a meditation bell, is that right? That's a very direct way to practice. It's a very direct way to concentrate, to gather the mind, to be one-pointed, to just listen. And that's a wonderful meditation method. So thank you for sharing. Sadhu. Okay, how about Abi? You'd like to share about your um, meditation method, your personal practice as of late?
Sure, why not? I guess since today is what 1:48 a.m., I can talk about today rather than yesterday. Uh, let's see, it starts with just waking up and noticing I am now awake. And then I usually like to sit soon after. First sit is usually, I like to focus on mindfulness of the body and noticing just the breath in the body and just, yeah, I sit like that for maybe an hour. And towards the end of that, or at some point when it gets a little bit nice and comfortable, I like to go through the elements. So, earth, so just noticing things, everything in terms of hardness or softness, water, dryness, fire, hotness, coldness, and wind, just motion. And a lot of my, at least the inspiration for my practice, or motivation for my practice is from dealing with physical pain. And so that I think helps me a lot, the elements thing. And yeah, after I do that and sit for a while later, towards the end, I try to just have some thoughts of goodwill, metta. And I try to remember or I don't really remember, it just comes usually that if, I sort of have been acting contra to that, and then I maybe direct the metta specifically at, someone. Usually I follow sits with some mindful walking, just to get back to mindfulness of the body, because I think that's important after concentration. And just noticing, anicca, anatta, dukkha, impermanence, and just everything being over there, so to speak. I probably have another 2 sits in the day, or at least 2 longer ones. Those are also, that's more anapanasati focused on, so mindfulness of breathing focused on just the whole thing, body, feelings, and mind, and letting go. And yeah, and yeah, those are a little bit more intense, and I try to focus more and yeah, towards the end of those and things like aggregates and seeing how things pop, you know, influenced by other things. And yeah, and just between that, a lot of a lot of mindful walking, and just remembering, this is it, and sort of trying to tap into that as much as I can at any given moment. And yeah, I guess that was today, and yesterday. My apologies.
A lot of times, my practice is doing a lot of outreach and answering questions and connecting with people and kind of putting myself out there, and that can be very draining and exhausting. I think it's also a kind of a rinse and repeat, so you kind of do the Tonglen that Anushka was saying in you breathe in all of this you know karma, or these experiences, these people, and relate to them, and then it kind of restarts and refreshes, and one way or another it falls away. So I kind of made a point to take a day away from doing those activities. I did do one where I did like a Q&A and a talk with people, and I could certainly tell difference in my energy, like that I had more to offer because I had taken more time for myself. So big part of my practice is finding that balance between offering and taking time for myself, because there's something very enlightening and enlivening and kind of holds me to the terms of conditions of being a monk when I am like here with everyone, when I am in community, when I'm connecting with people who are really want to practice and want to meditate. It just puts me in that place of accountability, and I'm not, I can't go and live in the mountains and be totally absorbed in meditation or anything. If I don't have something that inspires me and energizes me, then my practice can fall off as well. So finding that balance between reaching out and extending myself, and then also taking time to rest and to settle. So my day was a lot of resting and a lot of settling. And I think in general, I try to be very mindful throughout whatever activity I'm doing, especially mindful of my mind and my reactivity. So keeping an eye on the mind and trying to detach from the feeling of, this emotion is true or right, or I need to fix this situation, I need to act in this certain way, and just to kind of detach and let it be, let things be, and stay close to what is right in front of me, and the people that are right in front of me and want to be right in front of me, or together, and focus on that. So that's my practice for now. Yesterday. Okay, so we're going to have some final words from our dear friend Fabian, I believe, if I read correctly. Yeah, Fabian, you wanted to share some final words?
Yeah, just I mean, I cannot only speak for myself, but I just want to thank you from my heart, and I appreciate it so much that you're showing up every day, almost every day, and guiding us in meditation and reading to us, giving Dharma talks. It's like meaning really great deal to me in my life, and it has a really big impact. And I think it's for many people here like this, and it's yeah, it's just amazing that you created this safe space here in the internet and give us the opportunity to connect. Thank you, Sadhu.
I agree with Fabian. Thank you.
I do too.
Me too.
Here.
If you ever need support to feel that this is your community as much as it is mine, please reach out. Quit a little bit before you quit entirely, because maybe some change can be made, some accommodation can be made so that you feel safe and appreciated here. And my mindset is to continuously work to make sure that this is that this place has some weight to it, and that as much as is possible to kind of bring this space that is an online space to be a physical space as well somehow, so that we have this feeling that, if for example we were all living in the same area and we were showing up to the temple, the meditation hall every day, 20, 30, 40 people, we would be having a very intimate kind of community and supporting each other in many variety of ways, not just to show up once in a while, but we'd be forming these deep relationships. And so I want to support as much as possible to be doing that online, that we have that feeling that there's a depth here and there's a solidity that I want to bring about here. And that's only possible because all of you are so regularly participating and supporting with your time, your body, your mind, your attention. Okay, so it's my privilege to support and to help. Okay, so let's ring the bell, and we'll sit for a few minutes, a few moments, and then we'll do the Heart Sutra to finish up. Okay, so we'll just ring the bell, sit for a few moments, and then we'll have a chanting of the Heart Sutra. So if you pull that up on your computer, then you can pull it up now, and we'll start chanting. So you'll have it in front of you if you want. Just a few moments of sitting, and then we will chant. Mahaprajna Paramita Heart Sutra. When the Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara was coursing in the deeper Prajna Paramita, she realized that all the 5 skandhas are empty, thereby transcending all sufferings. O Shariputra, form is not other than emptiness, and emptiness not other than form. Form is precisely emptiness, and emptiness precisely form. So also are sensation, perception, volition, and consciousness. Shariputra, this form of the emptiness of all dharmas is non-arising, non-perishing, non-impure, non-pure, non-increasing, and non-decreasing. Therefore, in emptiness there is no form, and no sensation, perception, volition, or consciousness. No eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, or mind. No sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, or thought. There is no realm of the eye, all the way up to no realm of consciousness. There is no ignorance, and also no ending of ignorance, through to no aging and death, and no ending of aging and death. There is no suffering, no cause of suffering, no cessation of suffering, and no path. There is no wisdom, and also no attainment. With nothing to attain, bodhisattvas relying on prajna paramita have no obstructions in their minds. Having no obstructions, there is no fear, and departing far from confusion and delusion, they reach ultimate nirvana. All Buddhas of the past, present, and future, relying on prajna paramita, attain supreme Buddhahood. Therefore, the prajna paramita is the great mantra of power, the great mantra of wisdom, the supreme mantra and the unequaled mantra, which is able to transcend all sufferings. It is real and not false. Therefore, he uttered the mantra of prajna paramita by saying, Gate, gate, para, gate, para, samgate, bodhisvaha. We can make 3 sadhus together. Sadhu. May you all be well, happy, and peaceful. May you be free from suffering. And may this practice continue to grow and develop in our lives. Okay, thank you for being here, everyone. See you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bante. Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.